Welcome back to Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. I am elated because y'all know I don't let too many people in my office, but this one right here, she can roll through anytime, day, night, call, text, the whole 9 yards. Um, Treat a LPC. Before I jump into any further, go right now, like, follow, share, comment on Self Aware and Fucked Up. Okay, follow her, Treat the LPC. Before I even forget anything, the reason is she brings so much wealth and knowledge. So I'm getting to your bio. Brings so much wealth and knowledge to the game of mental health. She has a lot of years, over 20 years, right?
Yep.
Of mental
You
health
aging me.
experience. Yeah, from wrestling with folks inside mental health institutions and just a plethora of knowledge. But one of the things that I one I love the fact that we authentically support each other. It
Mm.
ain't ever a competition. It ain't ever
Mm-mm.
no none of that. In fact, y'all can thank her for the podcast getting started because I was on her podcast and I was like, I've been thinking about it. She was like, well, what you waiting on?
Right.
And so you were that push, and I just really want to say thank you because I know that my last guest, we talked about the difficulty of getting into the mental health field, and people so afraid that you're going to get clients from them
Okay.
that they don't want to share information, they don't want to share space, and none of that. So thank you for that. But to hit that bio, got a beautiful wife. She is straight up, just in your face, will tell you the truth. Ain't no game, ain't no shame, no none of that. Just a really, really beautiful spirit, but she's always soaring. She's always shooting for the next level. A motivator, whether you see it or not, you are
Okay.
a leader, right? I've seen you blossom from the time we first met at the crisis line,
Mm.
even now in leadership and the things that you do and how that works. So I'm excited to see all that's coming down the pipe.
Okay.
So welcome, Sandtrice, to another episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Thank you for your yes again.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. Like, I really appreciate it. And I really suck with like taking compliments. So that was really hard to sit
I know.
through. But I do appreciate the kind words. And I really love your support over the years and just being able to be my authentic self in with
Yeah.
you without having to hide any parts of me. That is so invaluable. And so I'm so grateful for that. So thank you for having me again. And thank you for continuing to push me because you push and motivate me just as much as you think I motivate you. So.
Awesome. I love it. I love exchanges of energy and authenticity.
Mm.
And I'm a firm believer if you're gonna be in my life, you need to show up authentic.
Right.
I because I'll cut you off. My cutoff
We
game
know.
is so strong. I have no tolerance for fake people because energy is huge
Right.
for me. So yeah, I don't get down like that.
I feel you.
The second thing I want to get you all to do is run out there, and I left my book at the house, and grab the newest book that Sandrice just dropped, Minding My Mental Health. It is one of the absolute best journals. I use it actually daily now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I do because it really helps me recenter and helps me to refocus and really grasp hold.
Gotcha.
And I challenge myself with some of the challenges in the book
Mm.
that says, "Hey, you got a plan for the day? What you doing?"
Mm.
Instead of aimlessly wandering around and not having that. So go out there. That's my plug. I'm about to hit the website because I want a T-shirt.
Hey, mighty on the mental health.
So give me the website.
It's uniquedestiny.org.
uniquedestiny.org. So she better be telling me that y'all out there and got your book and got your T-shirt. So
All right.
today we come in and we're talking about um, we were going in one direction, but it's still kind of the same because we're
Mm.
still talking about being the only black person in the room,
Right.
being that individual that has to carry the weight of blackness
Mm.
in spaces that's not always welcoming. But I want to start off with this comment because, as we know, last night our two presidential candidates,
Hmm.
um,
Can we call them that?
In my head, can I say what's it? So in my head, I keep saying our two presidential old farts.
That part.
One is an aggressive liar and bullier, and the other one is just fizzling. I don't have a better word to put on
Yeah,
it,
it's
but
bad.
those are our candidates. But a comment was made last night
Mm.
that said, if y'all don't vote for me, these people coming across the border are going to take the black jobs. What's a black job?
So I've been trying to figure that out ever since I saw it last night on my feed because I didn't watch the debate
Yeah,
because I
I didn't
just
either.
don't really dig into that because it's just negative stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been trying to figure that out. I was trying to figure out if he meant like, industrial jobs or if he meant like fast. I don't know what a black job is because I'm a black person and I have a professional job.
Professional job, and you know what's so funny is the last cycle of
Mm,
debate, he made the statement about black schools and universities
mm,
and said that they weren't up to standard to PWIs.
mm.
And I was like, so I'm so confused. Now we're not educated. Now they're
Right.
black jobs and we're having to fight. I'm seeing our community fight
Mm-hmm.
among ourselves. I get that we don't have a good choice,
Mm-hmm.
but
I mean, both choices are horrible. Like that's just period. Like both choices are not great choices. I mean, one side is over. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's just out there. Like ain't no covering it up. It just is what it is. And I think that we're just screwed.
We are. I think so too, and I think that what's funny is, and you mentioned the word over. Since 2016,
Hmm.
I believe, and you talked about this in your presentation on racism
Right.
and understanding, um, that the level of racism and balls.
Okay.
I don't have a better word to put on it because some people have become so aggressive
Right.
um, that they are attacking in
Hmm.
every manner. How concerned are you for the black and brown community uh, during this election cycle and some of the threats that have been put out there, like if he doesn't win, we're going to do this, and if he does win,
I mean, we seen what happened when we tried to impeach him. We saw what happened at the Capitol. So I can only
yeah,
imagine what things people would do. And I'm terrified of him winning. And I really
yeah,
don't see a situation where he doesn't win because of the craziness in the society. But
okay.
I didn't see him winning in 2016. Like I was like really dumbfounded sitting at my desk at the Bradley Center of St. Francis Hospital looking at those election results like, oh my God, or what type of country are we living in where this is okay?
I was in Canandaigua.
Wow.
I was in Canandaigua. So if you don't know, Canandaigua is the smallest city in upstate New York. And I was there working.
Mm,
And when I had gone to bed, was still up.
mm.
Hillary was still up in that election. And when I woke up, my mouth hit. I was afraid to go to work.
Yeah, I
And
can
I was
imagine
afraid to
that.
go to work because of so many racially motivated statements that we
Hmm.
had been dealing with already.
Right.
And so when I hear things, and I know I'm older than you.
Hmm.
I was born in '68. I'm a child of the civil rights era.
Gotcha.
And so my level of thought about us having to be in the black and brown
Mm.
spaces now in comparison to then, I have more fear now
Wow.
than
That's
then.
crazy.
Yeah, I have
That is
more fear now.
nuts.
Like when I was growing up, I don't recall people constantly running around having a weapon on
Mm. Yeah,
them. I carry a weapon every day.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, I couldn't imagine it being more scary now, but when you put it like that, like people have more access to weapons, everybody is carrying something to protect themselves because of the fear, and I think that I mean, back then we saw it, y'all saw
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but y'all saw it
In a lens of fear, though.
right.
We saw it through a lens of fear because our parents had to warn us
Mm-hmm.
because they saw their folks hung.
Yeah.
They saw their folks snatched away in the middle of the night and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So they were on a swivel. Our swivel is a little different now.
Yeah, because it's everywhere. Like
It
you know, I
is.
mean, you know, the presentation, like looking at all of the people that we've lost to police brutality,
Yeah.
like, and we just talking about the police. We're not talking about just regular black folks getting killed. And so I can definitely see that difference. And I think it's just like the age that we live in of social media, where you can log on to any post. I don't know if you're familiar with this black judge from Douglasville that she was just in the media, and
She was just trying to stop. From what I saw, she was trying to stop a negative situation. I thought, and
okay.
then, but what's your perspective?
I,
Because I hadn't seen it all.
I'll be honest, I don't really have a full perspective on it, but I was just like, wow, it didn't even take a week for them to remove her from the bench. But we have a president that is running that has
Listen,
been impeached, that has gone through all types of harassment law. Like he's gone through so many different things, and we have this man running for the highest thing in the United States, the highest office, and we are removing this black lady in Douglasville, Georgia, because she put her hands. I don't know how aggressive it was because I ain't see a video or whatever, but this woman did this and we removed her from the bench. But it's okay for a white 70-something-year-old man, racist, bigoted man, to be in a position where he is running for the highest state after he's been found guilty of these charges.
on top of that, most felons have no rights. You've been charged and convicted of a felony. And this is the problem when we're in these spaces that aren't welcoming to
Right.
us because we're showing up to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do our job well.
But
But we know Billy Bob over here not necessarily doing his
mm,
job well, but they'll get rid of us because we were aggressive because we said no.
mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts about, just having to be the only black person in these spaces? I mean, I can only imagine that you're having to do that in some
Mm-hmm.
meetings that you attend on a daily basis, having to assume the voice for black people.
Yeah. I think I had a little bit more challenge than that when I was on the in a different department
Okay.
where I was daily in meetings and I was the only black person, and
Mm.
it was just like, you know, my perspective was definitely welcome, but there were just certain things where I wasn't allowed to really have a voice. And I'll never forget, I had killed a presentation for Neo one time,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like doing the thing, got a lot of great reviews and all of that. And like really the same day after I did this great presentation, I got an email from someone in the department, and they were just like, please tell her she does not have the authority to be sending these emails. Like it needs to go through you. So it had to go through a white woman instead of it being able to come to me, who was supervising that department or whatever. And it was just like the change that I was making in that department when I was in that department. Like that's a big reason why I came back to a different department, because I
Mm.
was like, I mean, we can make change or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm still just a black person over here, and I'm always just going to be seen as that. And there was no room for me to move, because even the way certain departments are structured, they're structured to only allow who they want in certain
Mm-hmm.
positions or whatever. Like I'm a licensed professional counselor, certified professional counselor supervisor, but positions are written to exclude LPCs, because I mean a good majority of LPCs are black
Yeah.
or
I mean, we
whatever.
have to
There are
call
there
it
are a
what
lot
it
of there
is.
are a lot of black social workers out there, but the ones that you're going to even let get in the door are most of the ones, especially organizationally, most of them are the LPCs versus the LCSWs or whatever, that you would even get an interview, and so we're automatically excluded. And so
Right.
there's the bias, and I mean that's the system as a whole. But
Yes.
I've seen it personally happen to me, because it was like, oh, I can't even apply. Cool, bet.
Right. And it's so crazy because we don't wake up with the intention of saying, I'm gonna go in here and show that I'm black.
Right.
We literally do the opposite.
Mm.
Let's see if we can tone down our blackness a little to get a position.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
Man, I hate code switching. I'm so good at it though.
And I got a new word for you. That one of my guests said. She said, "Code switching is so close to slavery that
Mm,
I've had to change my verbiage to I am changing my communication style."
mm.
I was like, "Okay, that's a lot of words, but that's a good one."
No, I'm here for it. But I mean, it's just something. It's something I've had to do since I was like
Out the womb.
elementary school.
Out of the
Like
womb.
I literally, like I was thrust into academia, into this role of being like one of two, maybe three black people in the class, and most of the
Wow.
time it was only two or whatever. That's what you get for being a little smart kid. So you little smart kid, they put you in a class with all of the little kids that are not black. So
Right.
I'm in these spaces. So I had to learn what was okay. Because you gotta remember, like, I'm
Mm.
getting bused to this school, and I know that me saying me being bused, I know you're,
Yeah.
older
Yeah.
than me, but this is 1992. I'm
Mm-hmm.
being bused out to the countryside where all the white people live, where I'm attending school in this space or whatever, and then I go back home. I'm getting bused back home, and I say bus because LaGrange ain't this big, but
But
it
it's
was
still,
a
I
long
mean, you were
way,
crossing
right?
neighborhoods,
You,
so it is
yeah,
busing. Yeah.
yeah. So we went because I walked to school my first year in school or whatever because it
Mm,
was
okay.
East Side Primary. It was right down the street from my house or whatever. But they were consolidating schools, and
Mm.
so I had to be bused. And so I'm getting on the bus with nothing but half black, half white because we dropped the little white kids off at the house because we had to drive through their neighborhood to get home. And so
Got you.
I'm driving, but I'm going back into an environment at home where it's just black. It's like
Yeah.
everything around me is black. You might have an occasional um white person that's not of a great socioeconomic. I'm trying my best to not say poor white trash.
Listen, sometimes you have to call it what it
I
is.
was
But we
struggling.
gonna keep it 100. The socioeconomic spaces of white individuals
Mm,
is acceptable terminology, but if we're black
hmm.
individuals in a socioeconomic situation, they're gonna call us hood rats.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So,
And I was trying. I was like, I found myself struggling to try to say it in a politically
mm,
correct way, and I'm like, I
mm-hmm,
really want to just say that, but like that was all that was in my neighborhood: black people, poor white people, and then like maybe an occasional Hispanic person. So this is
mm,
what I'm surrounded by, and I can't go to school. I can't come home talking proper, if you will, or
mm,
whatever. So I have to be able to turn it off and on. My wife will joke about it now because like I can sit here and I can speak with you right now. You can understand everything I'm saying. But if I get close enough to exit 18 going home to LaGrange, all of my southern twang, everything come out. And
it's
she's
like
like,
that when I
she's
go to
like, what you
Memphis.
say? Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's natural. It's like it's natural to do it. It's embedded in us at this
Mm-hmm.
point because I don't even have to get but this close to LaGrange, and it's like I start just talking like I ain't got no sense, and they don't be understanding what I'm saying, and I be like, yeah, I'm about to come to the east side and go to my mom and her house or whatever. Like it really naturally happens without me even thinking about it. And she was like, yeah, you must have made it.
It's a conditioning. You know, I shared with someone the other day that my mother did not allow us to speak slang
Hmm.
because she felt like society already put certain darts on our backs,
Mm.
and to speak in colloquialism, to speak slang, she was like, no, that's not how my kids gonna speak. So
Mm.
we got targeted in our community for talking white.
Wow. Yeah, I can
Right,
see
and
that.
so you have this off balancing going on and having to adjust
Yeah.
to, okay, so is this a safe environment for me to say, man, look.
Look, when straight Memphis. I got a homegirl from Memphis. I love that accent. She kills it. But yeah.
And so when you think about even in higher education, um, upper level senior positions,
Mm,
being that only in the room, what do you think that does mentally to the individual?
yeah. I think it just really starts to wear on them, like, because they start to deal with microaggressions, and that's the piece of it that no one really digs into. I actually had a client not too long ago, not in academia, but like in the corporate finance world, where that was a really big struggle, because it's like you're coming to this black person to make all the black comments, or this person, you're making these assumptions that they know about things in black culture, about rappers and things of that nature or whatever. And I'm like, it just makes you feel isolated. It makes you feel like you don't have a voice, you don't have the ability to truly show up as yourself, and you have to code switch, you have to talk a certain way, you can't bring your voice above a certain level, because you're going to be looked at as the angry black person. And that's a lot of what I work through with a lot of clients, is that challenge of like, I really want to go off up in here, and I really want to do that, but then I'm the one that's going to lose, or being made to feel like I have to leave my job because they can't adapt to me being here, because I'm disrupting their culture.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's the sad part is I've seen, and I've been in the federal government almost 30 years. I've seen a lot where educated black women were used for their knowledge to boost departments, but never given the credit, never identified as a strength or a backbone to build. And then I've seen their anxiety set in.
Yeah.
I've seen that depression set in, and that wiggle of, I've been here long enough, do I give up my time that's on the books to just get out of here? How do you help clients really start turning that so that they can learn how to validate themselves in those spaces?
Yeah. A lot of it is the affirmations piece, the self-talk, and really affirming who they are, affirming their skill set, because even though they may be the voice that's behind the person that's doing all of the stuff, and they're building that person up, they still doubt themselves, because they're not the figurehead, they're not the person that's pushing it forward. And so a lot of it is reminding them of their worth, and like on paper, because sometimes we see ourselves on paper and we really, it's just paper, it doesn't mean anything to us. So
Kinda
it's
like
about,
you're cringing when I introduced you.
yes, absolutely, because I'm just like, okay, this is too much. But a lot of people struggle with that. We are taught so much to minimize ourselves and to make ourselves small, so that other people feel a certain way, that becomes a part of our psyche. And so a lot of it is reframing that, dealing with those core beliefs, and helping them change those core beliefs by calling them out, addressing them, and then changing it by what is the real truth behind what it is. I am smart, I am educated, I am qualified, I can do all of these things, and I just haven't been given the opportunity. I will succeed. Like, you have to change that voice in your head that has taught you that you won't be able to do these things or whatever, because you're not white, or you're not a male. Like, it's about deconstructing that and creating a new narrative.
But that's why I don't gravitate to the terminology imposter syndrome. And the reason why I don't is I believe that it's a mind trick of word use.
Yeah.
Because if I know, I know. It's nothing that anybody can say, do, or feel about my knowledge and my abilities. Imposter syndrome is just something I believe that was created to make black and brown people get into a space to think that they're not enough. That's my perspective.
And my perspective of that is similar, but my perspective is that it was created to make white people feel like it was okay to not be enough.
You may be right.
I feel like it was something that it made to make people who were underachieving feel like it was okay, because it's just imposter syndrome. Because I see imposter syndrome more so with white clients than I do black clients, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I don't feel like I'm gonna, because they've been taught so long that they are the best and they are the great, and they've been given opportunities so many times that they didn't deserve. They didn't have to go through anything. Black people are resilient. We are strong, we are fierce or whatever, and we have had to learn to do that. So black people, you can about can't tell them nothing most of the time, because we know who we are at the core or whatever. They tried to strip us of our identity or whatever, but I think it's more so a white thing where
Right,
it,
right.
where it's like, okay, I don't feel like I'm qualified. Well, you probably aren't, and it's okay too. But get the skill set to learn to move
Right.
out of this or whatever. But that's
And
just what I've seen.
don't target the black people
People,
that
because you
know.
don't feel great about you.
Right.
So,
And that, I think that's the thing that's frustrating for young people now
mm-hmm.
entering into the workforce,
Yeah,
because one, they hadn't had to go through a lot of the BS that we had to go
right.
through, that was the conditioning part of our lives, so they'll just jump out and say,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'll give you an example. I sent a message to a respondent the other day, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yo, you may want to refrain from this terminology because it could come back to bite you. She said, well, why? It was the truth. So you kind of can't tell a veteran that they're acting entitled.
Yeah, I don't think
See
that
how your
went over
neck
well.
quirk? and,
That's
and
problematic.
right.
Yeah.
And so she said to me, well, maybe that's an older way to look at it. And I said, oh, I own my age. I own my age.
Oh,
But if you're at a space where you can't hear wisdom
mm-hmm.
because you believe that I can just say whatever I want, you can.
Yeah,
Can you deal with the consequences?
that part. That part. Because I feel like another. I'm glad you said that because like I do see it a lot in white clients, but I also see a lot in younger clients, like first starting. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that level of the imposter syndrome piece comes from like they compare themselves to someone that's been in the field for 20 years or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
I did want to at least go circle back to that because I feel like it's twofold or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why are you 21 giving yourself expectations of someone who is 50 and they've been in
That
the field for 20
part.
years? Like that is where I see it like the most as
I think
well.
that's where it becomes really problematic because you have a lot of young people coming into the field and they see people
Mm-hmm.
that are on television. They see people with
Right.
these huge followings and things like that. Baby, they did not get there overnight.
Mm-mm.
We all had to get some grind in. We all had to
Right.
put that work in. The only person, and I really want to say this, especially to young people in the audience and older people too, who are still trying to grapple
Mm-hmm.
with where they are in life, the only competition that you have is with yourself. And for me, that needs to just be 2% better every day.
Yeah.
Dr. Myron Rolle has a book out called 2% Better. And
Mm.
every day he challenges himself to just 2% more of than what I did yesterday, or
Yeah.
how I challenge myself. But don't get into the comparison game, because here's the truth. You don't know how somebody else lives.
Right.
You don't know what made up. You don't know that when I was in my doctorate program, I got pissed when I found out that there were white students who the professors were writing their dissertations for.
Wow. Not shocking, but
I
wow.
was like, so you all sitting over here coming for me and y'all writing it for them?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I had to get over the mad.
Yeah.
How do you help clients who know that they have been chosen the black person in the room,
Mm-hmm.
who are overlooking, they come to you angry that
Mm-hmm.
they've been overlooked when they know what they bring to the table? How do you help them?
Yeah. A lot of that is just like working towards acceptance of what is.
Mm.
Like it is part of the grief cycle because
Mm-hmm.
they're going
Mm-hmm.
through all of those different stages or whatever. They just happen to be in anger because it's the loss of what they wanted. And
Oh, that's
so they
good.
have to be able to navigate through like these are the circumstances. I can choose to stay here, be sad, be angry, or I can choose to change my perspective and go at it another way. Maybe it's not this organization, maybe it's another one. Maybe I need to start my own thing
Mm-hmm.
and develop what I need to do. But if you're going to stay and that's the choice that you make, then you have to get to that place of acceptance and like just letting go of it or
Mm.
whatever, because we know the impacts that long-term anger can have on you
Yeah.
mentally and physically. And
Mm-hmm.
so like a lot of it is just breaking down that and helping them make a decision about whether staying is even healthy for them,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of times toxic work environments, and I mean if
Right.
you have that going on, you're in a toxic work environment. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no assumptions there, but you have to decide, is it worth fit to me to stay here and not feel like I'm able to reach my full potential? Am I okay with it? And if you're okay with it, then you have to accept it and move forward, move on.
Yeah. You said something that really took the conversation, I think, to another level
Mm.
because I hadn't really assigned grief
Yeah.
to that process of the anger and what that cycle looks like. And that's huge of
Mm.
recognizing that I walked into this space with this knowledge, skill, and ability.
Yeah.
And because I can't operate in what I've considered my norm, I'm now angry because I lost
Mm-hmm.
the footing that I had. That's good. That's really, really good. I love it because it just makes so much sense.
Mm.
It just breaks it all the way down. That's good.
Okay, I'm gonna have to use that one later.
Yeah, man, listen. I don't know if it just came hot off the press for you.
No, I mean it's just what I do. But I mean it's just, I mean because I've had these type of clients or whatever, and that's
Yeah.
what I do. But I, it went that deep for me.
Listen, it was deep.
I got
It was deep because the real reality is this. If we begin to assign what we're feeling to our truth
you. Mm-hmm.
and not just saying that I'm angry, but
Yeah.
understanding what the foundation or the origin of the anger is, we can heal.
Right.
Because you don't have to walk around angry. You
Mm.
don't have to be mad at everybody because personally, when you allow situations or circumstances to make you mad,
Yeah.
some folks got control over you.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I don't let people make me mad anymore. And maybe that's why I was like it wasn't that deep because I feel like I dealt with anger so long about just everything, and I got to a place where I was like, I'm not about to be walking around mad about this. If I can't control it, I'm not gonna focus or fixate on it because then I'm gonna be unhappy, and I don't have time for that. Life is too short. So.
And you know my favorite saying is control what you can control. What you can't control, you got to decide either I'm gonna keep dealing with it or I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah.
Because why am I gonna put myself in a fix? I gotta have a headache and anxiety and panic attacks, and I can't sleep and I can't eat because somebody else.
Listen.
Yeah, no, that's too much control to give away. I can't. I don't. It could be mom and them. You know how I feel about that. Mom and them, dad and them, auntie, uncle, cousin them, sister and them, brother and them, any of them. It could be any of them, along with people that you believe were friends or associates.
Right.
You have to sometimes adjust when you evolve.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's man, that thing resonated in my soul.
She gonna put this in one of her sermons, y'all.
Y'all know I am. Y'all know I am. It's gonna be a meme before it's over with. It's gonna be a meme. I promise you that.
Gotcha.
But when you think about words of wisdom to help people to one get to know themselves, two take their power back, what would you say to people?
Yeah. For me, it goes back to one of the mottos that has stuck with me over the last 20-ish years, which is know thyself, be thyself, express thyself. So you got to know yourself by reflecting. You have to know yourself by spending time with yourself, journaling, getting to know what your actual thoughts are. Who are you outside of your roles? What you show up to do professionally or whatever. Like you got to tap into those parts of yourself, and then you have to spend time with like learning to like yourself first, because a lot of us, we say we love ourselves, we say we like ourselves, but we're really not tapped into that or whatever. There may be things
know you to do love
to love you, right? That's why you got to start with the knowing yourself, and then you have to tap into being yourself unapologetically, and you do that just by accepting yourself. Like again, it's getting to the point of I am who I am. I posted on Facebook a while ago, like it took me 32 years, and I'm 41 now, but it took me 32 years to get to the place of fully loving me, not needing validation, not needing anyone to show up or say, oh, you're great, or oh, I love you. It took me that long to get there. You're not gonna, ain't nothing you can tell me about me at this point or whatever, but you have to do the work, and it's not an overnight process. It's not quick. It took me again 32 years to get to that point of F it. I don't care what anybody thinks, because what value does that give to me? So you gotta.
And how's that gonna change my life?
Right. It doesn't, but so many people think about what society looks, especially with social
Yeah.
media. You know how I feel about
Yeah.
social media. If my worth was determined by social media, maybe I would
We be
be,
broke
I'd be broke, busted, disgusted, and
and
like,
angry again.
right, and angry. But the thing is, I know who I am. I don't, but it took a while to get there, to trust
Yeah.
myself, to trust my experience of what I'd gone through, and what, professionally and personally, or whatever. So
Mhm.
that is a part of the journey, accepting the things that you've gone through, knowing that they make you who you are, and then moving forward and embracing that. And
Mhm.
once you embrace that, there's nothing you can't do.
Nothing. When you give them to me again, know thyself,
Be
be
thyself,
thyself,
express thyself.
express thyself, and I think that one is the one where people get hung up. They don't.
Mm,
They're afraid to put boundaries in place.
yeah.
They're afraid to speak up. They're
Mm,
afraid to lose people. Listen, if the people leave you because you set boundaries,
right.
they've meant to leave you.
Yeah.
That means that they can no longer use or abnormally use you, which is abuse,
Right.
because you got to know yourself. You got to
Mm,
be yourself. You got to like you. But that's going to require you to actually take off that foundation of what everybody in this world has told you you are.
right. Yeah.
You got to go all, here I go again, back to mama and them,
You got to listen.
all of them, take off all of those things, because if you look at it from building a house, all of that put a crack in your foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And you kept sweeping and mopping, but you couldn't figure out why all this stuff kept seeping up
Listen. At the core.
at the core.
You got to go to the core. You got to go to the source, and that's heart, that's self. You got to deal with, and you
Mm-hmm.
got to heal from that in order for you to be able to move forward.
I would add a fourth one to your list: heal thyself.
Yeah, I like
After
that.
you build, heal thyself, and then express yourself.
Yeah,
Because if you express yourself before the healing, you finna be in the same boat.
I got you.
I'm just saying.
It's a shout out to all my Black Student Alliance people from University of West Georgia. That's our motto.
Yes.
And so y'all gonna have to add heal in between the express piece. Just throwing that out there.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And changing lives. Listen, y'all. I could talk to Sandtrice all day, every day, 24/7, because she is a wealth of wisdom. The thing that I love is being closer to 60 than I am 50, is that I could sit with younger people, because you're my kid's age,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
You're my oldest one just turned 42.
Okay.
And so being able to talk with young people
Mm,
and get wisdom, get that seasoning. You have way more years in mental health than I do. So hearing all of that, I can't even say thank you enough, because you dropped some gems. It's gonna take me a minute to run through this and create these trailers and stuff, because I know the gems are gonna be popping, right?
gotcha.
And I really, really want you all to get out there. Please, please, please go to Self Aware and Fucked Up. That podcast, you can find it on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. You can follow her Facebook. You can follow. Are you on TikTok?
I'm on there.
Okay,
Kinda.
and
Everything.
TikTok. And so the reason is personally, I think that it's time for us to elevate positiveness
Mm,
in social media, things that can actually help us heal in social media. I get it that a lot of the negative stuff, I'm being nice,
I got you.
it's getting all of the following and stuff like that. But when you go through and you know thyself, you be thyself, you heal thyself, and then you express yourself, all that negative stuff, you're not gonna want a part of it.
Mm.
You need to put that on a t-shirt.
Look, this model belongs to the Black Student Alliance. I
Just
can't be
put
taking this stuff.
BSA underneath. Just put BSA, Black Students Alliance. We're gonna get them their credit, their
Okay,
props,
okay.
and then you donate $1 or $2 to the organization.
I got you. I got you.
But I mean, it needs to be somebody. Okay, BSA, y'all need to get somebody to make these T-shirts and send me the link. I'm going to the first one off the press. Okay, all right, got it. So, thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you have any closing remarks to the audience?
No, I really don't have anything. We kind of covered it up. Know thyself, be thyself, heal thyself, and express thyself. I'll
That's
leave it at
what's
that.
up. So we'll see you on the next episode of Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Be good to yourself. Don't take no wooden nickels and go out there like, follow, and comment. You don't know what that means.
I've heard it before.
Old people used to say, "Don't take no wooden nickels." That means don't be no
No,
fool for nobody.
I know what it means. I'm just saying.
So anyway, I know that may have gone over some young folks here. Don't take no wooden nickels. And so anyway, like, follow, subscribe, comment anywhere on Authentically Peculiar Marcia, the YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Go to therapy. That's my last shout out. Go to therapy. Find you a therapist that can help you. Your girlfriend, your guy friend, they don't really know. They don't really know how to help you. So they trying to figure out how to help you. Go to therapy. All right. Y'all be good. Be easy. Take good care. And we'll see you on the next